Following a dismal run into the summer break, the chessboard seemed to have a driver change, with Liam Lawson and Daniel Ricciardo battling for Sergio Perez's place at Red Bull, only for the Milton Keynes-based squad to pledge to retaining the Mexican in his position for the foreseeable future. However, fitting to Red Bull this season, online publications have leaked the Aussie driving as Verstappen's teammate in the Dutch Grand Prix. So, what is going on over at Red Bull? With Perez's efforts hardly adding to Red Bull's points total in a championship that is quickly closing in as McLaren's two drivers pursue down Red Bull's lead, the choice to stick with the Mexican driver came as a surprise. It was reported that there was considerable hesitation to place Lawson or Ricciardo in the seat at this point in the season, since neither was likely to offer a significant improvement over Perez's performance. This was supported by Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko, who wrote about the reasons for the decision in his Speed Week column, stating that Red Bull is waiting to see what Perez can produce at upcoming circuits where he has previously performed well, such as Baku and Singapore. Sergio Perez will also be in the Red Bull racing car after the summer break, because we now have races on the tracks where he was good last year, and we are relying on stability, according to Marko. He has repeatedly shown good performances in between, and he was also very fast on Saturday at the last race weekend in Spa, finishing third. He was allowed to start from second position, and, according to the calculations, third place would have been possible. But we saw that his tyres had degraded significantly more. He couldn't push, and there was also the fact that we only had 2 sets of the medium tyres and 1 set of the hard compound, while the competition had 2 sets of the hard and 1 set of the medium tyres available. That was perhaps also a crucial point. Perez doesn't have to become faster, but more consistent, and given the alternatives, he is still our best solution. Rumours surfaced that F1's commercial rights holder, Liberty Media, had intervened to request that Red Bull maintain Perez in his seat, fearing an impact on attendance at the Mexico City Grand Prix, but Marko dismissed this conjecture as unfounded. Reports that his continued involvement is due to Liberty Media's wish for him to drive in Mexico are not true, he said. They certainly want him to contest his home race, but our choice of driver is not based on Liberty's intentions. Perez's contract with Red Bull Racing expires at the end of the 2025 season. However, it remains unclear if the whole term would be honoured, especially with Liam Lawson waiting for a seat within the Red Bull driver system. And Helmut Marko has indicated that Red Bull will clarify Liam Lawson's immediate future in F1 in the coming weeks. The Kiwi has been attempting to get a full-time Formula One seat for more than a year, and Red Bull's Helmut Marko has hinted that a decision on his future is near. Last year, the Red Bull youngster got his first taste of Formula One action when he took over Daniel Ricciardo's AlphaTauri after the Australian driver had a hand injury that sidelined him for 5 races. Lawson excelled as a super sub, notably in a punishing Singapore Grand Prix when he finished 9th in points. However, with Ricciardo being named full-time driver in 2024, Lawson has been relegated to the role of backup driver for both Red Bull teams. With Ricciardo off to a bad start this year, Lawson was connected with the Australian driver's position before Ricciardo improved in the middle of the season. However, time is running out for Red Bull to decide what to do with Lawson. His contract option is expected to expire in September, and with the Kiwi driver a contender for Audi's second seat with Nico Hülkenberg, his future with Red Bull must be resolved. And that is exactly what will happen, according to Helmut Marko, who wrote in his Speed Week column this week that Red Bull will outline their plans for Lawson in September after giving him a recent filming day with the Red Bull RB20 and a testing of previous car TPC outings at Imola with a 2022 AlphaTauri last week. "We will announce what happens next with Liam Lawson in September," he told reporters. The fact that he was able to gain more Formula One kilometers of experience in Imola had been planned for some time. Even if the competition would like to use him on loan, he is not available for that. With Marko stating Lawson will not be available on loan, it appears the Kiwi driver has been guaranteed of a spot for next season. The natural assumption would be the second V-carb slot, with the previously announced Yuki Tsunoda. This raises the obvious issue of what will happen to Daniel Ricciardo if Lawson is handed the V-carb position. Is the Australian destined to replace Sergio Perez, who just signed a new 2-year contract with the Milton Keynes-based team? Or is the Aussie being freed to pursue other opportunities? What appears most likely at the moment is a promotion for Lawson, with Marco also speculating that Formula 2 youngster Isaac Hadjar will succeed Lawson as the reserve driver for the two Red Bull teams. Our Formula 2 driver Isaac Hadjar took his fourth victory in the top Formula racing class at Spa, Marco said. He clearly has the potential for Formula 1. We'll see how everything develops, but he will certainly take on a role of some kind. It could be that, like Lawson, he will spend a year as a test and simulator driver. But let's go back a moment. Daniel is out? Or what is happening there? Well, there have been some big changes in recent days, even after the Perez announcement. This is where things get a bit weird. This came to light when F1 journalists across the world weren't the only ones expecting a change in Red Bull's lineup for the Dutch Grand Prix, with the race's official app mentioning Daniel Ricciardo as Verstappen's teammate. All the chatter leading up to the Belgian Grand Prix, the penultimate race before Formula 1's summer break, was about Red Bull evaluating their lineup in light of Sergio Perez's continued troubles. Despite dropping from second on the grid to seventh in Spa and being defeated by Max Verstappen, despite starting 9 positions behind Perez, Red Bull decided to keep Perez. Checo remains a Red Bull racing driver, despite all the speculation of late, Red Bull team boss Christian Horner announced after what had been billed as a crunch meeting to discuss the way forward. We're looking forward to seeing him perform at circuits where he's done well before, after the summer break. Pundits were baffled after several warnings to Red Bull that their action would have lost them the Constructors' Championship. Many people were surprised by the decision, including the official app for the Dutch Grand Prix, which obviously expected VCARB's Ricciardo to be in the car alongside Verstappen for the Dutch driver's home race. The self-styled honey badger is cuddly on the outside, by fierce on the inside, said the app's description of Daniel. Behind Ricciardo's laid-back demeanor and wide smile lies a razor-sharp racer with grit. Ricciardo is a formidable competitor, with podium finishes and wins at Red Bull. A brief stint at Renault and McLaren followed, but didn't yield a title. After a short break, he returned to Red Bull, showcasing his speed again at AlphaTauri, now RB. Then came the misstep. As Verstappen's teammate, he continues to strive for success. Oops. Unfortunately, that wasn't the first time Verstappen and teammates got it wrong, with former F1 driver Karun Chandhok apologizing to Perez's supporters for his teammate's statement. Verstappen informed Chandhok during the Goodwood Festival of Speed that he would be interested in competing in the RAC Tourist Trophy. Maybe together with Daniel, it'd be good fun in one car. Oh, you two could be teammates, Chandhok responded, before the camera panned out to see Sergio Perez standing close next to the two, trying to keep his smile intact. Facing a backlash from Perez's fans, Chandhok took to social media to say, "To all the fans of Sergio Perez, I apologize if you felt I was being disrespectful to Checo Perez during the Goodwood Festival of Speed. If you watch the full video instead of just the small edit that seems to be online, you will see that we are talking about Goodwood Revival and not F1. The Revival is a fun event, and the level of trolling and abuse in the last days from Checo's fans who have not understood the full story is a real shame. I hope this clears up the matter. What do you think? Who will end up where? And was this a planned slip-up by the Dutch GP? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.